All right, so you were about to say you got building materials showing up? Let everybody know what's happening, man.
Building a barn, Pat. Good
That's so
old-fashioned
cool,
barn
dude.
raising.
So
Yeah,
cool.
so we have the building site leveled and the gravel distributed, waiting for the concrete pad. Building materials show up tomorrow, and we should get started soon after that. So,
Is the gym gonna get moved into that?
oh, you know it,
Oh,
big
dude,
time.
that's so
Yep.
cool. I'm
Hmm.
so, you know, I've got no complaints. I can't complain. It's, that we've got my home gym occupying, a stall in our garage, but like to have a separate outbuilding,
Man,
I think that's like every garage gym athlete's dream. That's pretty awesome. That's going to
I
be happening for
cannot
you.
wait. I'm so excited. It's totally going to be like a clubhouse, you know. So,
How
if you're
long
ever
is it going to
passing.
take to build it? Do you have any
Great
idea?
question. I mean, we're sitting here at the end of October. They're confident that it'll all be done and dusted by Christmas and much sooner than that. But having seen building processes extend longer than the estimate, I'm not that confident. But everybody I keep talking to who's involved with the project is like, oh yeah, it'll be way easy to get it done. So,
Easy
but on
day.
that note too, Pat, it's funny. I'm perfectly content with my little garage gym. It's not the biggest garage gym I've had. It's not the smallest garage gym I've had. But I will say sometimes it gets commandeered for other projects. So, for example, if you guys could see behind me right now on that side of the garage, it's just a jungle right now because my wife was doing some reorganization with all of her plants. And in order to do so, she's got to get them all out of the living space. And so naturally, they end up
Mm-hmm.
in the old garage. So I've been dodging plants as I've been doing, front squats and riding the fan bike and all that.
Is
So
is in the barn, is it going to be just a structure, or is it going to have like a heater for the winter?
yeah, we'll probably look at a couple of niceties in there because more so for the summer, frankly, around here. I don't mind a cold temperature every once in a while, but boy, the Tennessee summer, man, gets a little rough. So we'll see if we can get
Oh,
something to
nice,
keep
dude.
the air moving a little bit.
Nice. And did fitness happen today?
Again, as per usual on the recording days, the jujitsu happened today.
Ninja training.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know what I have. Oh, I've got in 2 days, as we record this is Wednesday. 2 days from now is Fran.
Ooh.
I
So you're
just,
already counting it down, and
oh man. Well, what's funny is I know that I'm never going to touch my lifetime Fran ever again. It wouldn't matter what I did. So I don't know if I'm going to do it just as is and just let it shake out, or I might do it as 5 rounds of 9 and 9 and just see if I can't just keep the gas pedal there.
Oof.
You know, what I don't know. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
gonna all depend upon. But I'll tell you what, I'm properly fueled because the other night we went to Costco and we purchased, $1 billion worth of food from Costco, and for the family of five. And one of them is a shepherd's pie. Do you know what a shepherd's pie
Oh
is?
man, dude, you're talking my talk. Both my
Really?
wife and I love a shepherd's pie. Yes,
It's so
the
good.
best.
It's so good. I
It's that
don't think.
layer of mashed potatoes on the top.
Yes. I don't think I knew what it was before a
Oh
few
really?
years ago.
Oh,
Yeah. So for anyone who's unfamiliar with
the
it,
best.
it's like a pie crust, and then layered is just like ground beef, and then the top layer is just mashed potatoes, and
Sometimes
you.
you get fancy, get some peas and carrots in there. You
Yes,
never know.
okay. Thank you. There's peas and
Yep.
carrots in there as
Hmm.
well. And the one from Costco is a monstrosity. I mean, it's this circle that I don't know if it's like 18 inches across. I mean, it's huge. And I was left to my own devices, just me and the little girl the other night, and she was eating whatever she was eating, and I just made this thing. And I just kept going back, and I didn't
Oh
realize how
yeah.
many times I kept going back. This is not an exaggeration. I ate half the shepherd's pie. And like
Well
I
done.
can't, it's huge.
Yeah.
I had to go online and try to figure out because they don't tell you the nutritional information. I tried to figure out what it was. I think just for my dinner that night, I consumed 2,500 calories, like just at dinner. And the
I
sad
love
part it
it.
was, I wasn't even that full. I felt like I could have had, like a little dessert
That's the
afterwards.
that's
So,
the mark of a good shepherd's pie. You can
so
keep going back to the well for
So
sure.
point being, I
Ah,
am ready for Fran, man. My
yes.
cells are full of energy and power, and so it's gonna be good to go. So, okay, Before we get to this great question today, I'm going to do my housekeeping, which is we appreciate all of you very much. If you want to help support the show, go to variednotrandom.com, check out all the different programs and cycles that we offer. On-ramps for barbell, dumbbell, body weight. There's a run program. There's all kinds of just barbell-centric capacity programs. And then there's a ton of just get your firsts. First strict pull-up, kipping pull-up, bar muscle-ups, handstand walk, ring dips, handstand push-ups, all kinds of cool stuff. So check that out. If you own a gym, all the back-end non-sexy stuff you got to do to run your business, any kind of gym, billing, gym management, tracking your members' fitness, BTWB has you covered and an all-in-one. Just go to btwb.com, check that out, and then, it'll be awesome. So the question today that you sent me, where is this from? Do you know, is this like...
It is from a recent episode, at least recent to this recording.
Oh, you got it off a YouTube episode.
I did, yeah.
Okay. So this, all right, so this was posted publicly, this person's name on YouTube. Okay, so this is from Katie Smith 101, and she wrote, question for a future episode. Is it okay to train for multiple competitions at once, especially if the training will be very different? I have a strongman competition next year, and then there's a CrossFit competition 1 week later that I also want to participate in. Is that a bad idea?
I love it.
The man who knows competition is here with us, ladies and gentlemen. So you are good to go. You take this answer to the bank.
Yeah, I'm not sure that should be the title bestowed to me, but hey, I'll take it. I'll fill that role for today. I think it's a great idea, and the short answer is, look, I bet, reading between the lines, that this individual is not paying the bills with the outcome of this competition, either of these competitions, and assuming that. Yeah, throw your hat in the ring. There are so many positive things to be gained from amateur level competition, such as a time-bound goal that motivates you to stay in the game and train. Something concrete to kind of set your sights on that you can base your training around is so powerful. It also, can help you rally your community around your progress as well, your coach, the people that you're working out with. All of these other individuals, knowing that you've got this end state that you're looking forward to, can also help to keep you on track. I mean, it can be a very powerful, healthy thing to have this time-bound situation that you've committed to. I understand that they may be disparate in nature as far as what you're asked to do between a strongman competition and a CrossFit competition. But that being said, the GPP that you're going to be developing as you work towards these two competitions is going to lend itself in both directions. And who's to say that you can't start skewing your training just a little bit more, maybe towards the strength side of the house, so that you're a little more prepared for some of the stronger man events, while still maintaining a pretty decent gas tank. I think that's totally possible. So if the question was, hey, can I maximize the standings that I get in both of these competitions and compete within 1 week of each other? The answer is well, probably not. But if that isn't the reason that you're competing, and you're competing for the love of the game, so to speak, and the other benefits that I just talked about, who cares if your standing isn't optimized in either case? I don't think it matters at all, and I would encourage you to absolutely do it. Heck, you know what? Go run a marathon a week after that. Why not? Get the trifecta. Give it a shot.
Why not? Yeah, well, 100%. I mean, short answer is, when I saw this, can I do this one strongman competition and then compete in a CrossFit one a week later? Hell yeah, you can. Hell yeah, you can. I mean, do whatever you want. As I've said before, you're a free, autonomous, sovereign citizen on planet Earth. Do whatever you want. Have fun. There are no rules. And I think you nailed it, which is, I would just, if Katie was here, I'd say, okay, you want to compete in these two different competitions. What does it mean when you say compete? Do you mean participate? Because you can certainly participate. If compete is just, do you have a goal? Do you want to win? Do you want to be top 3, top 10? If you get a goal, that might be something different. But can you have the physical and mental capacity to go in and do these two things? Yeah, and I have folks in my community all the time do this, and I'm very open and honest in Linchpin, because I get emails every now and then, be like, hey, I want to go to regionals in the games, and I'll tell people, you're probably not going to be happy in our community. That's not what Linchpin's all like. That's not it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go do a local throwdown? Yeah, of course you can. You can have fun, have a blast. Absolutely. That's when you say you want to compete, that's a big word. Is it the backyard
Yep.
throwdown, a one-day competition, or are you looking to go to the games or the Rogue Invitational? I mean, these are wildly different things. But if you're looking to just have fun, take the pressure off of yourself and just go have some darn fun, like you said. And I think an important thing to do is if you choose to do that, whether it's like a super local fun competition that most people haven't heard of just to your local area, or one of the bigger regional or national ones that people do see and you happen to qualify, which is awesome. You get there and you happen to qualify and you go and compete on your kind of your regular training regime, if you will, there's a good chance that you're going to be competing against somebody who's a raging psychopath that has decided to dedicate 6 hours a day with like a team of scientists working around the clock to optimize everything. And so like the leaderboard may or may not check it because you don't know what that person next to you is like willing to sacrifice, willing to dedicate. This is their all-encompassing passion. You're just like, well, I wonder if I could compete in this. This could kind of sound like fun. So I think it's a big thing, and it just depends upon what does that mean to Katie? What are her goals or expectations? And taking all these things into account, we can get into this in a second, but I think while there are certainly some large differences between training for strongman and how strongman events are laid out versus training for CrossFit and how CrossFit events are laid out, there's some definite overlap as well. But I mean, from the last several years of like covering strongman competitions at the Rogue Invitation, all that, like the average strongman event, like a long event, is if you go a full 60 seconds. Like that's a long, I mean, that's a long event, like max something in 1 minute. You're going to do these sandbag carries and drag this. Like most things are done in under a minute, the overwhelming majority of the time. That's certainly not the case in CrossFit. I mean, so there are some differences, but the overlap I think is ample enough that you could do both and have a blast.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think to your point, depending on the level of this competition or both of these competitions, I think that level of overlap will get greater or lesser. And particularly if you're thinking about more the amateur level, like the lower the level of the strongman competition, the more overlap there's going to be with just regular old CrossFit. Particularly when you start thinking about just the base level of strength required, the movement patterns largely, like, yeah, you'll see some unique events probably with logs or stones or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, if you are just a regular CrossFitter who's got a decent strength built up and you have decent lifting mechanics, you'll be able to apply that pretty well to this amateur strongman competition. And the overlap will probably be greater than you think it will be. Up until you get to the point that you're really starting, like you said, to get to more of like a regional strongman level or beyond. It's one of those sports that the tippy top is totally gonzo, but that doesn't necessarily reflect all the way down to just, you know, the weekend strongman competition that you may be able to find in your community. Oftentimes, in order to make that competition both appealing enough and just reasonable enough for enough people to participate, the high-end strength required is not just like this totally out of reach thing. So for that reason, if that's the intent, is, you know, kind of local, amateurish, and then the CrossFit competition is kind of on that same level, then yeah, there's going to be a ton of overlap there. If that isn't the case, and sorry, I'll let you go afterwards. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe we're assuming this is incorrect, or assuming incorrectly, and one of these competitions is, you know, a higher, you know, higher level, more regional based, whatever. In that case, I think you need to just decide which one is more important to you. You can still train for both. You should still compete in both, in my opinion. But I think you need to decide ahead of time, like, okay, which one is going to be kind of the primary focus for me, and the other one I'm doing more, quote, for fun. And that way you can kind of make some training decisions around the lead up a little bit easier. So that's what I'd recommend. If they're both kind of lower level and you're just kind of throwing your hat in the ring, you probably don't need to change much. If they're a little higher level, you might want to think about which one of them is more important to you and just kind of start biasing in that direction for a little bit. But I don't think that means you should not participate in one or the other.
Yeah, and again, you know, participate, right? What are your goals? What does compete mean to you? I could compete in a strongman event tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I wouldn't probably do particularly well, but
I see that.
but I
think
could
it
do it.
depends.
But yeah, but
don't
it
know.
depends. And I was going to say, if you want to do some like old school research on the YouTubes or the Googles, put in like CrossFit Strongman Curtis Bowler or CrossFit Strongman Curtis Bowler CrossFit. What did he have? Rainier CrossFit back then? I think that's what it
Yep.
was. But I mean, he was like back in the day, and his gym was always just full of awesome strongman gear and yokes and odd objects and stones. Okay, story time now. I did a long time ago when I worked for CrossFit. We were doing this like a video series where we were going around and doing like Flowmaster profiles, if you will. And one of them was Curtis Bowler. And so I flew to Washington State where he lived at the time. And Kurt's such a great guy. But we were like driving around. This is strongman in his blood. We were driving around unscripted, and he sees there's like a stone on the side of the road that he's been like had his eye on. What a lunatic. Had his eye on forever. And he's like, I think I could get it. Maybe it'd look good for the camera. And so this thing was massive. Curtis is a strong guy. We just stopped there. And he tried forever and ever in like his regular civilian clothes he was wearing, got just dirty head to toe, to like lift this massive stone into like the bed of his truck so he could take it home to his gym to like just pick up and move around his yard. And he struggled, like got it to his knees almost and dropped it and struggled and dropped it. Couldn't get it, like tried forever because it would have been a great shot. And we left without getting that shot. And then like within a week, he went back like at night and like got it and like filmed it on like somebody's phone and sent us. They're just a lunatic. So, but that stuff is really, I don't know what the point of that story is. That stuff is really, really fun. And while you're probably not going to see Cindy or a 5K run come up in your strongman competition, having an engine is not going to, be a detriment to you. And, you've got to be strong to be competitive in CrossFit. And the overlap there of, we always say like variance is such a wonderful thing that if you have been doing what we traditionally do in CrossFit for heavy days and strength days and things like that, and now you're going to get to work in odd objects and axles and sandbags and stones and do these bear hug carries and yokes and drags and pulls and farmer's carries, like that's all going to just be helpful, quite frankly, and hit you in a different way and make you head to toe strong in a different way that I think there's going to be a wonderful overlap and you'll have a whole lot of fun on the journey.
Could not agree more. I think that's, to get back to kind of the benefits of just throwing your hat in the ring, man, it can really reignite a passion for training if maybe those embers have, died down a little bit. But it can also open you up to some new things that maybe you haven't experienced in your training and just send you on a path of like totally getting fired up to, dive into something new for a change. And I think it's great, especially, I think you and I talk about this a lot, but you think about the long view and the training and being physical over the course of one's life. Those little things along the way, the kind of side mission where you're like, man, for the 6 months, it was so fun to just drag a sled around and really get into that world for a while. It can be totally refreshing and it can keep you in the game, which at the end of the day is the most important thing. So I think there's way more benefit to be had attempting it. Even if you do both and you're like, you know what, I fell on my face, I didn't perform very well, so be it. Hey, you got the opportunity to do it and you had the goal in mind and you trained for it. So what if at the end of the day, it just didn't pan out? On to the next. What a cool thing to be able to do.
And the fun aspect, man. I mean, sometimes I guess working out should be fun, right? But I mean, if you've been doing something for days, weeks, months, or like approaching a couple of decades, like things can become a grind. And if all of a sudden you expose yourself to different tools, different implements, it's just some of that strongman stuff is just fun. I don't care how else you say it. Dragging, carrying, pulling, throwing, like it's just
the caveman aspect of it
fun,
is
man.
great.
100% fun. So Katie, I think from us it's a great big yes. It's a great big enjoy yourself. And I hope that you do it. I guess you said it's next year, but I guess next year is only a few months away, so this could be closer than we realize if it's early in the next year. But hopefully you circle back in a future YouTube episode and post and kind of let us know how did it go? But I'd like to we read those comments, so that'd be cool. But I think that's just about all I got for Katie, unless there's anything else you want to
Yeah,
throw
the
her
last
way.
thing I wanted to do was just, again, tie it back to kind of old school CrossFit philosophy. The top of that theoretical pyramid is, sport. And, this was something that I think was a little bit more of a standard practice for people in the early days of CrossFit, because most people came from some sort of other activity or they were engaged in some sort of fringe sport and they found CrossFit and they wanted to see how it could like better that thing. Nowadays, people train CrossFit almost exclusively just to train more CrossFit a lot of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. So kind of getting back to this idea that part of the point of having this broad base of GPP is to see how you can apply it, even if that's kind of outside of what you think it might be useful for. I think it's super great. And it may reveal an interest like we talked about. It may reveal, hey, you know what? Actually, my training is really good for getting me generally prepared for most things. I should keep doing it. Or the opposite. I tried to do this thing and man, it was really challenging and it's revealed a bit of a hole in my program and my personal development. Maybe I need to start showing up on these strength days a little bit more regularly. And now you've got the goal for the next foreseeable future. So I think there's a win, lose, or draw. There's a ton of benefit. There's a ton of, I think, I hate this term, but I'm going to use it, alignment with the old school methodology and using your GPP for something other than just what you're doing in the gym every day. So yeah, I see a ton of reasons to do it and not too many not to.
I think what would be, yeah, I think it'd be fun. And I don't have like a draw to do too many competitions, but if there's like a fun strongman one, like that could be a blast.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is strongmanish. I'll end with like one of my go-to workouts that's I always keep in my hip pocket for like short on time, short on whatever. Sorry you can't warm up. You got 10 minutes to be in and out of the garage. And I don't know if this is strongmanish, but you use a D-ball, like, so which is just a Nerf version of a stone, right? So you could use a stone if you have it. So it's my Nerf strongman workout. But I've got a few different D-balls out there and I use the 100-pounder for this. And I walk out, if, things get away, we got to go do something with the kids, and all of a sudden, like, where did the time go? And I'll tell myself, your spirit animal is Steve Prefontaine. The best pace is a suicide pace, and today's a good day to die. And then it's just, it's with the 100-pound D-ball, it's 15, 12, 9, ground to shoulder, calories on the Echo bike. Nice. And that's it. And that's ugly. It. And it's just, it's ugly. It takes no time, but and that'd still be a fine workout with a barbell, but there's something fun about the D-ball. Like, I don't know what it is. These objects are fun. And so I think Katie's gonna have an absolute blast. So
yeah,
hopefully.
Well, I want to give you one now on the same thing.
All right, yeah,
all right, so since we're swapping stories, this used to be something, back before I left the Bay Area, my friend Jordan and I, we would have sled Saturdays. And it was exactly what it sounded like. We would load up a sled, we'd go down to the field, we would load up the sled, and we would basically just do a short pass, trading back and forth, resting whatever felt like it was supposed to be the right rest. Not a big agenda other than basically trying to make the other guy quit. And more often than not, I tapped out first, but it was fun. We would just keep loading it up. We would just try to, make this as heavy and brutal as it was. He'd bring his kids would jump on the sled, we'd be pushing them around. It was a great time.
That's awesome.
You never felt shortchanged. And you know what? I mean, man, I think looking back on that, the strength and stamina that my legs possessed at that time after doing that regularly was like way beyond what it is now. So sled Saturday, man, some of that strongman stuff doesn't need to be complicated and it can really be a fun way to structure your training.
I've got a sled in my garage that doesn't get broken out anywhere near as much as I would like to, just because it's just, I don't know what it is with our drive. It's so loud for the neighbors and I feel some sort of whatever, but I should break it out more often. And
find a nice field, man. That's what we did.
I was gonna say, for anyone who's unfamiliar with it, a heavy sled is just so taxing and challenging, but a light sled is the work of the devil. I mean, you could just move. I mean, if you walk out and say, hey, I got a good workout for you, and you look at the prowler and it's empty, you should go, oh, no, I don't like that. Let's put some weight on that thing. So enjoy, everybody. Katie, let us know how it goes. Keep the questions and comments coming. go to the BTWB YouTube channel, find this show, post your thoughts on training for different styles of competition close to one another. How has that gone for you? Success or failure, lessons learned, whatever it happened to be, tips and tricks. We like all that stuff. If you have ideas for future topics, leave those in the comments. Katie did, and here's the show. And yeah, we appreciate you. So for Adrian Bosman, I'm Pat Sherwood, and we'll see you next time.